It was around 2:30 a.m. when Jake checked into an old hotel during a road trip. The receptionist was odd, his eyes dull, his voice monotone, like he had repeated the same words 1,000 times. As Jake took the elevator to the 4th floor, he noticed the hallway lights flickering. His room was at the end of the hall. As he walked toward it, he saw something strange. A tall, thin man in a suit standing near a room a few doors down. The man didn't move. He didn't blink. His head was slightly tilted as if listening for something. Jake hurried inside, locking the door behind him. He laughed at himself. Just a creepy guess, nothing more. But as he lay in bed, he heard it. Slow, deliberate footsteps outside his room. Tap, tap, tap. They stopped at his door. Then a knock. Jake froze. Another knock, harder this time. He held his breath. His phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Do not open the door. If you see him, pretend to be asleep. A chill ran down his spine. The knocking stopped, but he heard something far worse. A whisper. It was right at the keyhole. I know you're awake. The footsteps faded down the hall. The next morning, Jake rushed to check out. The receptionist stared at him, eyes wide. You saw him, didn't you? You should never look at him. Jake turned to the hallway one last time. There at the very end, the man stood, tilting his head. He smiled. Jake never stayed in a roadside hotel again. Samantha lived in a small cabin deep in the woods, her only neighbor miles away. She was used to silence, but something about this night felt wrong. At 3 a.m., she woke up to a soft tap, tap, tap at her bedroom window. She froze. Her cabin was deep in the forest. Who would be out here? She slowly turned her head, expecting to see a branch tapping against the glass. But what she saw made her stomach drop. There was a face pressed against the window, pale, expressionless, watching her. Her heart pounded as she reached for her phone, but there was no signal. She slid out of bed, careful not to make a sound. The figure at the window didn't move. It just stared. Then a knock at the front door. Her blood ran cold. She turned her head toward the door, then back to the window. The face was gone. Samantha grabbed a knife from the kitchen, breathing heavily. The knocking turned into pounding. Whoever was outside wanted in. Then silence. Minutes passed. Then her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Why did you leave your window unlocked? Samantha's heart stopped. She slowly turned toward the window. The latch was undone. That was the last thing she remembered before blacking out. The next morning, she woke up on the floor. The window was wide open, but nothing was missing. No footprints outside. Just one thing left behind. On the window in the frost, a single handprint. She moved out the next day.